Before I learned what spirits really are, I would consider them ghosts and I would be scared of them just like most of us are. But there's one particular moment in my life when I was 23 years old where I experienced some pretty interesting things. I worked third shift as a security officer at this really well known engineering building, and it was 4 floors, and the entire building was empty except for one person who would like to, work overnight. Anyways, I would go to the security office and sit there for 8 hours during my shift, again overnight. At the time, I was studying the Bible, which is also something that you should take note on, because when you're getting really spiritual or you're learning more about spirituality, then the veil just starts thinning for you and you start experiencing more paranormal things anyway. So, anyways, I would sit in this security office and I started seeing things in the corner of my eye, these dark figures just kind of walking past the doorway. Obviously, when I looked, I saw nothing, and I also saw nothing on the cameras directly in front of me. One of my responsibilities for that job was to do a tour around the building just to make sure that none of the lights were turned off because it was an engineering building. There was a specific spot on the fourth floor west that really just made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. I just didn't want to be there. The energy was off. It was dark. It was just creepy to the point where when I was walking, I'd walk like sideways so I can look in front of me and behind me at the same time. And then at one point, I had to walk across the parking lot every morning to open up the gate to let people in for work. And this was like maybe 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. And this, for some reason, I decided to look up at the sky, and it was like maybe 8 feet in the air. I started seeing these whiffs of smoke in the air, and it was appearing and disappearing, appearing and disappearing. Mind you, there's no cars in the parking lot. There's no one else in the building or on the property except for me. I started praying, and they actually started disappearing, and they went away. But going back to the fourth floor west, this is really interesting. When the guard came to relieve me, I mentioned how uncomfortable I felt in that particular area of the building. And he said that someone actually passed away in the office in the same spot that I would feel uncomfortable in. He had a stroke and he passed right there on the floor at work. So I have more ghost stories, but that's probably the most recent one that I would even consider ghost, because at this point I'm a psychic medium. I see your ancestors all the time. I see my ancestors all the time. I don't consider spirits ghosts anymore. I consider them people just like you and me. And I speak to them as if they were here, and they are. So I don't know. I would love to hear your experience. Let me know in the comments.